we have a Boeing story that's a little different in nature from most of the Boeing stories. So, Russell, here, let's take this away.
Yeah, this isn't a Boeing crashing story, but we should probably still give it its customary sound cue. I'm leaving on a jet plane.
That's right. It's still in the category.
Still in the Boeing category. All right. So, hey, man, some good news at Boeing. Union labor power. Workers at Boeing have launched a massive strike. 33,000 machinists walking off the job demanding better wages and an end to the aerospace giant's wanton violation of safety standards for its own profit. You got that video, Keaton?
Yep, here it is.
You love to see it. Friday the 13th mask and all. That'll fucking scare the shit out of them. We better give these guys a raise. Sure, you guys gonna come at us with a machete next. Boeing workers vote overwhelmingly. See, that's what's great about COVID. You could dress up as Jason and be like, "It's COVID. I'm protecting myself and others."
I used to take advantage of those masks so often, man. When someone would cut me off with a shopping cart, I would just under my breath, "You fucking bitch." And then, when we didn't have to wear them anymore, first couple times I got sloppy. I started like cursing people out under my breath, not remembering, hey, your mouth is visible. They could read your lips and they could kind of hear you now. So yeah. No, hey,
yeah,
look.
I never stopped doing that or started as a mask. It's just my personality. Boeing workers vote overwhelmingly to strike in defeat for troubled company. But hey, they did get the Starliner back in one piece. I was calling that 50-50. Thousands of Boeing workers walked off the job Friday after resoundingly rejecting management's contract offer, shutting down airliner production, and threatening further damage to the aerospace giant as it struggles to overcome financial and safety problems. Members of the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, District 751, expressed more than a decade's worth of pent-up anger, as 96% of those casting ballots voted in favor of the strike, far more than the 2/3 needed. It's the first strike by Boeing machinists since 2008. The strike risks derailing Boeing's recovery from a series of legal and regulatory crises and could cost the cash-strapped company an estimated $1 billion per week, according to analysts. Union members play key roles in assembling some of the company's best-selling aircraft. Already, the company is being threatened with a downgrade of its credit rating. Yeah, man. That was the short of the century. You needed to short Boeing like 4 years ago. The most direct impact is on Boeing's assembly plants in Washington, especially in Everett and Renton. An extended work stoppage could also impact Boeing suppliers and possibly shrink its share of the aerospace market. However, less than 24 hours into the strike, there appeared to be signs of progress. On Friday evening, the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service, an independent federal agency created by Congress to resolve conflict between employers and unions across industries, announced the two sides agreed to resume meetings next week with the help of a federal mediator. Earlier on Friday, in remarks at an analyst conference, Brian West, Boeing's chief financial officer, said the company is eager to return to the negotiating table, adding that new chief executive Kelly Ortberg, who spent time talking to workers on the factory floor this week, is working with his team to come up with a new offer. By the way, they had a very hard time finding a CEO that wanted this job because they know what kind of shitstorm they were walking into. West called the deal that members rejected unprecedented while acknowledging it fell short. The tentative contract would have included a 25% raise and improved health care and retirement benefits. Quote, over the last few days, it became very clear, loud and clear, that the offer didn't meet the mark and it was not acceptable, he said. Union members said they have been frustrated for years with Boeing's tactics, including threats to move airliner production out of the region. Quote, I think this 96% spoke very loudly about what the workers want and what they're not going to settle for, said Julie Dye, a 17-year Boeing employee who wore a shirt from the 2008 strike as she stood on a street corner near the company's Renton factory carrying a picket sign. Good for her. For Robert Nesseth, a 36-year-old Boeing employee who's been on strike 5 times and temporarily lives in a nearby RV park while away from his family in Washington, said the cancellation of his pension translates to more than $1,000 less a month in benefits once he stops working. Quote, our main thing is that over the last 15, 20 years, we've made a lot of concessions to the company because times were tough, Nesseth said. What Boeing is offering doesn't let us catch up at all. The company really underestimates how much employees are tired of being used and abused. After, and also, people keep turning up in, dead and garbage bins. Nobody knows
Right.
why. Very strange. After a string of tense marathon negotiating sessions over the past several weeks, the IAM and Boeing announced Sunday that they had reached a tentative 4-year agreement. In a key provision, Boeing would commit to building its next new aircraft in Washington state, a major union demand. Under the agreement, the average pay for machinists would have risen from 75,608 to 106,350 per year without overtime, according to the company. But workers said the offer failed to take into account the high cost of living in the Seattle region and the years that employees had gone without significant raises. Quote, 4 years is not enough to make up for the last 16, Boeing worker Roger Legrano said before he voted. He said he was voting to strike in part to give union members more time to understand a deal. The IAM strike in 2008, a 57-day walkout, cost Boeing about 1.5 billion a month, according to Moody's. Quite a difference. Now they're saying 1 billion a week. Boeing has struggled to recover from major safety, financial, and legal setbacks that began in January when a door panel of a 737 MAX jet blew out of a fuselage in midair, leaving a gaping hole. Multiple investigations into the calamity uncovered serious shortcomings in the company's manufacturing and safety oversight systems and led the FAA to limit the number of 737 MAX jets Boeing could build until it meets certain quality and safety milestones. Ortberg, the former chief executive of Rockwell Collins, took over the top job last month, pledging a new beginning. All right. So this is a great example of workers exerting the power that they actually have. They are costing this company $1 billion a week. So they got to do this math. How much how much is it costing us not to have a contract with the workers? More and more, and I'm sure we'll get into this more over the course of the night with some of the things we're covering. But more and more, I'm definitely coming to no war but class war. Like people seem to keep trying to figure out what should the left core philosophy be. That's it. That's it. It's clear, it's concise, it's unifying. That's it. No war but class war. That is it. That is the only way that working people have a chance of taking their power back from the people who stole it from them.
Yeah, and one of the other things this exposes is just yet another screw job in this country because if you read Chris Hedges' America the Farewell Tour, he writes about this as a lamentable dynamic, which of course it is, but you see politicians talk about this openly now. I mean, you see major politicians from both parties brag that basically the military industrial complex provides us a manufacturing base. It gives us one of the few manufacturing bases that we have left. And so one of the
Wolf
selling
Blitzer
points
said that in the middle of a segment.
Of course, right. And so one of the selling points for companies, like Boeing and Lockheed Martin and Raytheon, to exist is that, hey, they provide American jobs, right? American workers get a good deal out of these entities for all the havoc that they have wrought around the world. Hey, it's American jobs. Well, apparently they don't treat their workers very well, right? Apparently it's not as sweet a deal for the American worker as they claim it is for all the evil that is done around the world. But yes, absolutely. Look, obviously, I've been more on this. I mean, I've always been on this page, but I've come to the conclusion, in recent weeks and months, that really the thing to organize around is a mass labor action, just a coordinated, broad-based labor action, because that to me feels like the only thing that is going to exert enough pressure on the system to force change through a political system that is just unresponsive to any other kind of democratic input. I mean, I think that's obvious.
Exactly. You have to, just like Israel, you have to hit them where they live. Money. Right. You have to bring the wheels of the economy grinding to a halt. That is what they will respond to. And that is what our forefathers did in the labor movement. That is what our grandfathers and great grandfathers did. They shut it down. And it wasn't easy. It was a lot of back and forth and strike breakers and Pinkertons and a lot of unrest to get the great middle class society that you had for a while in the post-war period that has gradually been eroded and taken back. Seeing these kinds of strike actions, which are becoming more frequent, people are always asking, well, what should we do? That's what we should do. And that is, if there's any worthwhile project, that's what's great about Shama's organization. Workers Strike Back. That, yes, exactly. That is what any left movement has to be oriented around. We'll get into this later. We're going to cover I Am Racist. But
am I racist?
I am. Never calling it I Am Racist from now on. Keaton wanted me to go to the ticket booth and film asking for one ticket for I Am Racist.
One for I'm a Racist? Can I get one for I'm a Racist?
One for I'm a Racist, which I did not do, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, man. I'm coming around more to seeing the point of view that some people have had in the left space that these culture wars are designed to distract. And I've always taken the attitude, yeah, but that's what makes them a good trap, because if you don't address them, they hit you with them. And that's true as far as it goes. But in the end, actions speak louder than words. If you're only organizing around economics, people are going to see that's what you're about. It's probably the best way to show that's what you're about and avoid that whole trap.
Well, that certainly comes as music to my ears. But yes, I mean, I've felt that way for a long time. And
well, hang on. My 45-hour series on the Acolyte is still coming.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, look, I mean, I agree with that 100%. I mean, I think you organize along class lines, and then, those other debates are debates you can have in a civil way within the movement. But if you use those as wedge issues to divide workers before they even get started on the job of organizing, then you never get past square one. Right?
That's it. Somebody comes to you with some crazy gender shit. What you got to say is, hey, man, you want to go on strike?
Yeah, that's it.
You do you.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll do me. Let's go on strike.
That's it.
Please clap.